Welcome back to the Snowmobilingpodcast. This is your host, Avann. This is episode 2, and we have got a series of race directors talking with us today. We are going to try to get as much accurate information of what the race series have got planned this year. It's a different year with this pandemic, and these race directors have got a lot of work ahead of them. It's going to be a challenge. So today we are talking with Bob Richardson of the USSA, that's an oval racing series, and Todd Myers of the CORR Motorsports, and that is in cross-country organization. And we also have Ken Avann from the CSRA. And we tried to get in touch with ISOC, but they didn't return our calls. We were hoping to get in touch with them because I think they're going to have the biggest challenge this year. A few of their races are in restricted zones, and it's going to be a challenge. They might have to move a few, I think, just by looking at the restrictions as of now. That might change, but I'm confident that if they do have to move their races, that they will do so. They've got a lot of good other venues that they might be able to double up on. So let's hope that ISOC will be good, and because I'm looking forward to it. I missed Duluth this year, as a lot of people did. That was a great event, opening race, and hopefully that event will be back in the near future. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this series preview, and we've got a couple more coming up. But this podcast, it is sponsored by CKX Gear. And here's a short commercial for the Mission helmet. Mission helmet is a very popular helmet. It comes after the Titan helmet, which was an excellent helmet. But you got to try this new Mission helmet. It works fantastic. So here's CKX Gear, and we will continue with the series preview.
The Mission helmet is equipped with an integrated air management system exclusive to CKX helmets. This unique technology allows you to decrease the risk of condensation by evacuating moist air to the outside of the helmet. Under certain weather conditions, the breath deflector will ensure proper operation. The crucial purpose of this component is to isolate the nose and mouth area so that moist air can be confined. To achieve this, it must be well positioned and rest tightly and comfortably over the entire perfect adjustment. You'll be able once on the trail to fully enjoy all the benefits of the Mission and the AMS technology. To learn more about the Mission helmet, please go to ckxgear.com or visit our YouTube channel. The CKX team wishes you a wonderful season.
Continuing on with our series of talking to the race promoters for the upcoming 2021 season, and we have Bob Richardson from the USSA Snowmobile Racing Organization, and that's an oval racing series. So, Bob, how you doing?
Good, doing great.
And I can call you Bob, right? Is it Bob or Rob? Robert?
It's Bob. Bob
okay.
Is fine, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, Bob. So how many years have you been with the USSA?
We've been involved with USSA since early to mid 90s. I've been on the board since 1994 off and on, and 4 years ago I assumed the director of competition position. So pretty hands-on as of late.
Good, yeah. And the USSA, it's been around for forever. It seems like. How many years exactly has been the USSA been around for?
USSA is going on its 54th season of the ice oval snowmobile racing.
Nice, yeah. So, okay, so things have obviously changed over those 50 some odd years. The heyday of oval racing, obviously, and we're still ovals are still doing pretty good. How's the 2021 season coming along this year?
Well, everybody's aware of the pandemic, and everybody's been dealing with it. We are very optimistic. We have lost one of our events that just with in the state of Michigan, with some of the laws and mandates that they've put in place and implemented, that it was pretty risky to go ahead and spend all the funds to do something and to have that shut down, the last minute. So completely understand that. So the Ironwood event is canceled this season, but they've already rescheduled, and we've made dates for the upcoming 2022 season. So we're looking forward to that. Just recently, the last 24 hours, I spoke to all the other promoters and track owners, and we're very optimistic that we will still get a 3 to 4 race season in.
Great, yeah. Ironwood's been around for many years too. It's been one of the original oval tracks that the USSA has had. Have they not?
Yes, absolutely. I think I got to believe that they're in their 50-year range as well.
Yeah.
I don't have that exact number, but it's been around a long time, and they're great people up there, and they put a big effort in, and it's always been the kickoff to the season. And in prior years when the borders have been open, we get a fair share of the Canadian racers that come in and get a weekend in a racing before the World Championship weekend comes about. But this year, understandably, with the borders closed down, that's not an option this year either. So
yeah, good. Okay, so let's run down your circuit this year. What races have you got going forward for this coming season?
Well, USSA has got we've got the Derby, the World Championship will be our kickoff this year. It's kind of like the NASCAR with Daytona being their first race, if you will. So that is the third weekend in January at the World Championship Derby track in Eagle River. And that'll be a 3-day event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, with the World Championship being on Sunday afternoon. And then we go from there. The following weekend is the Wausau Flip Merwin 525, and that's in Wausau, Wisconsin, just about 90 miles southwest of us. And that's been on our venue now for going on 15 years plus. So Ralph Merwin and his crew do a great job down there in Wausau, Wisconsin. And the following weekend is the fourth weekend in January. This season we will be in Waiwega, Wisconsin. And that is actually a little bit further south yet. And that's a fairgrounds operation, beautiful 3/8 mile track. That event is a Friday afternoon, Friday night, and a Saturday show for us.
Yeah.
So
is that a new one? Is that a new venue?
No, we've had the Waiwega's been on for the last few years. We did have them years ago. Then they did take a break, and they came back about 3-4 years ago. And ever since then, we've had a great venue with them. And the snowmobiles race, like I said, on Friday afternoon, Friday night, and Saturday, and then they have a UTV motorcycle show on Sunday there. So it works out good. It's a big Fire and Ice is what the name of it is. They do a great thing for the city, and kind of community comes together. And in normal circumstances, they have pool tournaments and bands and everything. So it's a great venue. They do a super job down there.
Nice.
And then from there, then we usually leave space because our fellow racers in Canada with the Valcourt event, that's always the second weekend in February. So we don't we leave that date open so our racers can travel up there. But I believe that's canceled as well this year.
They're just running the SNOWCROSS and the snow bikes this year. Apparently, there's going to be no oval races this year. Apparently,
right. Yep. So that weekend will sit open as well, and then we go back to Eagle River for the World Series, the USSA World Series, the third weekend in February, and we have Saturday and Sunday locked in, but Craig Marchbank and Russ Davis and the owners of the Eagle River Derby track have offered to give us a Friday show as well, so we could actually add one more day to our points season. We would have a full event on Friday as well as a full event on Saturday and a full event on Sunday. Just trying to get our competitors a little bit more ice time with everything going on this season, and helping out our points race a little bit. So
sure, perfect.
And then we usually, the USSA with the Pro Star Cup Tour race series usually has Beaujolais involved in that for their last race of the season, but I don't believe this year with the borders all closed down and stuff like that, we're kind of just we're going to take a year off, and hopefully next year we can all come back strong.
Yeah, for sure. Do you foresee any problems with the entries this year? I mean, usually you get a lot of Canadian racers. It's one of the disciplines. Oval racing has a good mixture of Canadians and Americans racing on the oval circuit. Do you foresee a problem with smaller classes this year with Canadians not being allowed to come down?
Well, there's no question about it. That's going to be our fellow competitors up in Canada, and vice versa, us going up there. I think both sides are going to see a drop in numbers. It's the sportsmanship and the quality of racing. I mean, we'll still have good racing, but we were on a kind of with the new rule and stuff last year. We've seen bigger numbers going forward for our number one class, the Pro Champ class, the World Championship class, and I think this year we won't have the numbers we had, but and all classes are going to be down some, I'm sure, on both sides of the fence. So hopefully everybody stays healthy and we can get through this whole thing, and next year we'll be back stronger than ever.
Yeah, for sure. Let's run down your classes now. What classes have you got, and basically a detail of what those classes involve as far as sleds?
Well, we run, we have approximately 4 different junior programs, starting in the 300 series, 340 series, and then they go up into the junior 1s and junior 2s, and those are all broke down by age group. Some of the junior 1 and junior 2s actually run a Pro Champ style chassis with just a junior motor package in them. So it's kind of a stepping stone. So when they do turn the proper age to move up, they can come up and race in the what we call the Pro Light Champ class, which is a stepping stone to our Big Champ class, which is where the professionals and the everybody that is running for the WC or the big points go. Eventually that's where everybody, I think, wants to make it. But and we have a lot of middle classes, which are like the F500, which is a 500cc liquid cooled. It's a older chassis, but they've really done a lot of work to them, and it's more modified with some stock rules in place. And it's a very good high number competitive class.
I was going to say that it's very popular with the racers. That class, the 340 class, is there a speed limitation on those motors at all, or is it just because it's 340? You're going to get this kind of speed out of it, or is there any kind of throttle blocks or anything like that on those?
No, it's basically governed just by the horsepower in the chassis. I'm thinking we're probably in that 70 mile an hour range, 70, 75 mile an hour range. Yeah. For a 10 to 12 year old or 14-year-old juniors, that's a pretty good clip. And then as you get up into the, like I said, the junior 1 and junior 2 with the Champ chassis and stuff like that, you're getting up in the 80s, mid 80s. So, it's just all relevant, and, it's a stepping stone for everybody going up the chain.
Yeah.
And then,
okay, go ahead.
Oh, and then we do have, we've got the factory 600 class, which is our 600 stock production machines. That is also a class. Numbers been fluctuating on that a little bit up and down. It's one of the classes that the manufacturers have backed us on and really like to see it. USSA does offer. We do have the Supermod 340 and 440 vintage class, as well as a super stock 340 and 440 vintage class that we promote as well. That's to bring some more racers in and competitors in.
Sure. The vintage classes have kind of been taken off in the past couple of years. How many classes do you have, and do you see you adding more vintage classes just to bring the numbers up, get it more viable for the USSA?
Our schedule right now, we have approximately 21 classes that USSA offers. And then we right now have 4 vintage classes that we implement in there as well. So we're running around that 21 to 25 classes a day. And with the racers that we have and the numbers, that's pretty, we try to keep our show to the 5 to 6 hour range. And, with certain venues not having lights and what have you, it's pretty much, that's really what determines and dictates on how many classes or how many racers we can have. We've got, when you come to the Eagle River racetrack, of course, they've got their own lights. Time is not an issue, so we can add, we'll add some more classes. Last year at the World Series, we had 8 vintage classes, I believe, in our schedule. So, we like racing. We love to have them with us when they are around. And we try to always work with the other vintage series or associations that, we're not stepping on their toes. If they run on a Saturday, we always run our guys on a Sunday, so our vintage guys. So, just try to work hand in hand with everybody and, make it all work.
Yeah, let's face it, the spectators loved watching those old sleds too. Yeah. So, okay. Let's see. So, the series is all done, kind of thing. What are you expecting from the Pro Champ class this year? You had a retirement last year. Stradek, he retired, did he not? Who is it? Van Stronach? Did he retire, or did I see?
Yep.
Or yeah. So
yep, Nick Van Stronach retired. He had a great season. We had 1 or 2 other retirements out of that class last year, but 2 years ago we implemented the new stock motor rule in the Pro Champ class, and we've seen numbers jump at Eagle River just alone from 2-3 years ago from 17 entries to 33 entries last year. So with the stock motor rule, it's made racing, a little bit more affordable, if you will, if there is such a thing as affordable racing. But I think it's also brought in a lot more competitors that normally wouldn't be willing to make that next jump up. This year I've already had multiple phone calls. We're probably looking at adding 8 to 10 new racers that are coming up out of juniors that are going to the pro light ranks, which bring you into the Pro Champ ranks. And we've got a lot of pro light guys jumping up into Pro Champ as well. So I guess the feeder program is really working. It's doing what we've always wanted it to do. And the Pro Champ class is, that's the ultimate. And I think everybody, whether you're from Canada, Sweden, United States, or anywhere, that's where, everybody wants to win that one. If and as history has shown it, we've had some great competitors come through the different forms of the champ racing, whether it was the twin track stuff and moving on, it's just, and it's nice to see we've got a lot of involvement from past racers starting new race teams up that, that have kept their interest in the sport and wanted to see new blood come up. And, I guess that's the part of it that I really enjoy seeing.
Yeah, you see the Walls and the Hools bringing new people up. That's good to see, kind of thing.
Yeah,
those guys.
Yeah. And now we're even starting to see some crossover from some of the vintage racers. The Gadies and such coming over to race with the the late model Sprinter, sprint sleds. So that's also a positive note. We're starting to see, getting a combination, a little mixture. So, anything we can do to better our sport, we're all behind.
Yeah, I guess we could say the Eagle River is kind of the prime race this year. Is there any other races that have like extra prize money this year? More incentives, or is Eagle River still the big one?
Yeah, we do. I don't know if anybody's at that level. The Wausau 525, that race is, that's been one of the bigger ones. Last year they took the season off, trying to better the condition, the racetrack and everything. So, but Ralph over there, the owner, and his crew, they do a great job, and they always have a great added purse In the past, the USSA, we've put together the Pro Star Cup Tour, and there's always been added funds every weekend to each event. So this year with the pandemic, the sponsorship is a little bit tougher, and rightfully so. So we're very optimistic that we'll have added purses through the whole season. It's just where we're going to be at exactly. That's still kind of an undetermined.
Yeah, for sure.
Number yet,
it's a moving line right now with all the circuits. Promoters used to just have to look and to see what the weather conditions are on the weekends now, and they have to keep in mind the restrictions for the ever changing season. So let's go through your sponsors this year. Who have you got sponsoring your events, and give them some love?
Well, we've got Fly Racing is back with us again this year. A great company. We've had several years of working with them now, and they do a super job. We promote they supply our crew with jackets and everything as far as our winter apparel goes, and different prize money and different things like that. They're great. They've been a great companion with us. We've got Woody's Traction Products, which has been phenomenal. I think everyone knows of Woody's. They've been around, a great family, and they've been around racing and supported it for years and years. So Woody's has done a wonderful job. Also, we have Polaris Racing has came on. They've been with us now for several years, and Polaris is a tremendous. They've done great things with us and helped us out prize money wise, and so we're looking forward with continuing the relationship there. Like I said, with the past, we've had we've got a lot of great sponsors and a lot of people that really reached out and helped us, and we're really going to just roll. And we're not, if this year is this year, and we're not going to shun anybody for not being able to step up, and we're going to continue to work with the tool we've got, and hopefully next year when things loosen up a little bit and we can get everybody back on board. It's kind of I don't know if anybody should be penalized or anything, just with everything going on. It's out of everybody's control to a certain degree. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, you're not the only one in the boat this year. All the race circuits are doing the same thing. They just want to get through this year, provide the best circuit, the safest circuits that they can, and hopefully give us some good entertainment. So anyway, Bob, go ahead.
And we do have, we've got Articat, Textron. They do their share with us as well as BRP and Bombardier and Skidoo does as well. I mean, they're all those, the manufacturers, even Yamaha to a certain degree. So I mean, without the manufacturers, I think everybody knows that racing we need their help. Whether it be on the backside of things, helping the racers out directly, or if it's helping us out with sponsorship. They're a huge part of our success. So
and those manufacturers, they go back many years. They love the oval racing too. So they've always supported. I've just did last week. I did an interview with Mike Trapp, and so it was. Those manufacturers, they go back many years. So, but
absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay,
and
Bob.
The Stud Boys came on and they've helped us out through the years, and it's just there's a number of them. I feel bad I'm probably missing some, but we'll get them for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Great. So, well, really appreciate you talking with us. It just give everybody kind of a heads up and what we're looking forward to this year. And let's hope for a good season, good safe season, and good weather. I mean, the least thing we could probably use is bad weather. So let's hope for some cold weather and some good conditions and some happy racers, and we'll get through this year really well. So that
would be great. So.
Yeah. Okay, Bob. Really appreciate you talking with us, and let's say good luck this year, and have a good time.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Okay. We're talking to Ken Avann, the president of the CSRA. He runs the SNOWCROSS circuit in Canada, and we can get some information on what's happening with snowcross races this year. So, how you doing, Ken?
Not bad, Gord. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. Getting excited for the season coming up. So hopefully you can shed some light on what's happening with snowcross in Canada, and we can get the snowcross perspective. So, how long have you been operating the CSRA?
This is our 27th season going in.
Yep. And
so yeah, a long time. We're it's been a we started the snowcross in Canada. Just basically we got out of the oval racing program and jumped into that. I like doing motocross and cross country type racing, so I started racing snowcross stateside. It was just coming into the U.S. and tried convincing the oval circuit to bring snowcross in. They didn't want to do it. Didn't think that it would work. So then we just launched it ourselves. And the very first event we did, we had I think twice as many racers as what the oval circuit had. So I knew it was going to be. We had some good momentum right off the get-go. We had Tony Heikkinen showing up and some of the top riders. So then it just grew from there. It got went huge. Finally, we got into there around 2000. 1999, we had close to 1,000 racers between the ASRA circuit in Michigan and the CSRA circuit. So yeah, it grew, and we're still coasting along here. So it's nice.
Speaking of the ASRA circuit, you also manage the indoor snowcross series. That was kind of in the peak of the snowcross era. Talk about that. Do you ever see snowcross, indoor snowcross, ever coming back?
It could come back. It would depend on a major sponsor stepping up to help cover the cost. If it's very expensive to move a sport like that indoors, especially when we have to truck all the snow in and out, and you generally have a 24-hour window to create everything. So grab the stadium, get the snow, move it in, build the course, do the event, get everything back out. Usually happens in 24 hours. So it's a lot of logistics, organizing, and it's a very expensive program to do. So can it be done? Yeah, it can be done, but you need a major sponsor to kick in and make that happen. As the machines are becoming more efficient, we had a few issues last when we were doing indoor snowcross with the exhaust on the two strokes. Now they're much cleaner with the EFI. Back then they didn't have that. The buildings themselves can eliminate all the smoke in the building if you can talk them into getting the air evac systems up and running prior to the event starting. All the buildings do, and the majority of them didn't want to do that until you started to see a lot of smoke building up in the building, and then it was too late to evac it all out. But the buildings are all designed for pyro and stuff like that, so that would be better now than when it was back then. It just comes down to the cost of whether or not you can have a sponsorship to make it happen. It would be like any other major sport, NBA, whatever. It's a lot of money to make those events happen. But it was really cool. It was really intense. We had all the top riders involved: Herbert, Morgan. Basically, we selected 36 of the best racers in the world from Europe and everything else, and then the race team managers selected the riders for each event. So it was the best of the best, and it was crazy intense racing. The very first event that happened indoors was in the Air Canada Center, and Glenn Morgan won that event. But that was pretty cool. I think we had 13,000 fans in there. The place was rocking, and they had the lasers going and the music, and it was a really cool show. And then we, from there, it opened the doors for us to go into the bigger stadiums, and then we started doing stadiums in the States, the Pontiac Silverdome, Metrodome, Fargo Dome, all those really cool buildings. And it built up to the point, I think the largest event we did was the Pontiac Silverdome with 36,000 fans, in a 5-hour period. And people jammed in there so tight that the police actually came in and shut the gates down because we were, the traffic was so intense outside, with more people trying to jam in there, that they were getting a little bit, wound up outside because they couldn't get in to see the event. The event had been running for an hour and they were still lining up outside. So the cops shut the gates down to let any more people in. So that was unfortunate because it would have been cool to see how many people we could have actually accommodated in that stadium. It holds 70,000. But anyway, that was kind of the pinnacle for indoor stadium racing. And then from there, it kind of dissipated. And then, we did it for 2 or 3 years, and then we just checked out.
Yeah.
It didn't have enough manufacturer support. Manufacturers were all basically supporting the WSA stateside, and there wasn't much left over for them to support our indoor program. So it just kind of faded away. But it was a great era for sure for snowcross racing.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, let's get into what the CSRA has got in store for this year. Okay, let's talk about CSRA and your venues, and you have a few multi-day events at some venues. Let's talk about your venues.
Well, we have many changes going on this year due to the ongoing pandemic. So we've got to work around the province protocols and also the local health unit protocols for our events. So we've selected sites this year that have a lot of space, like each site would have 25 acres or more simply for parking and our racetrack, which will allow us to keep our racers distanced apart from each other and run the event in a safe manner as far as local, as far as distancing the trailers and all the racers and all the protocols that have to take place. We're not going to have any spectators at our events this year. There's lots of different areas that don't really want the huge crowds, obviously, and the protocol right now doesn't allow it. So we're simply they allow 100, but we're not going to have any because we can't control the gates. If we have any spectators at all, we'll have, if we promote that, we'll have 2,000 or 3,000 showing up. Then we'd have chaos at the gates, and the public health unit or the police would shut the event down. So there'll be 0 spectators. We're just going to create these events for our athletes. We're going to have all of our classes. We have 22 racing classes of snowmobiles, and we have a couple classes of snow bike, and we have a couple classes of UTV off-road vehicles at select events as well. So we're confident we can control the events in a safe manner. So it's going to be safe to the communities, safe for our racers and staff, and our sponsors. So we're excited about the series. We know it's going to be a huge challenge for us. Obviously, we lose a big chunk of our revenue to make the events happen when we can't have spectators, so that's going to hurt us. But I think that we can still make it happen by reducing some other costs and being a bit more efficient. But anyhow, we're excited. I always look forward to a challenge, and this is going to be the ultimate challenge, I guess, to be able to pull our events off this winter. So anyhow, we're looking at going to a few different locations. We're looking at going to Timmins and Lindsay, Sault Ste. Marie. We're going to be going to Barrie for a couple of events at the ski resorts. So yeah, we've got a pretty nice schedule. We're hoping to go to Valcourt as well. It's going to depend on the province of Quebec has different protocols than the province of Ontario. So as long as they allow us our riders to come into Quebec, that we're looking forward to that as well. So we'll just have to see where that one rolls up. Right now, as the COVID cases are ramping up in certain areas, it might be a bit sketchy in some areas. And if the public health suggests that they don't really feel comfortable with our event coming to town, then we're not going to go. We're not going to risk anything. We're not going to push anything. We want, safety's got to be number one priority here for the communities and for all our guys. So if we're getting professional advice from health experts that say, it's right now it's just not a good time, we may have to shuffle, cancel that particular event and then maybe reschedule it later in the season. When hopefully things wind down a touch, or if there's a vaccine starts to come into play or whatever. So we'll just see how that rolls out. But we are going to schedule them. We're going to work at making them all happen. And if they get shut down, if one event gets shut down or 2 events get shut down, we'll try to reschedule. We'll do our best to make them all happen. But as you know, if the government tells us that no, then obviously we can't go.
Yeah. So okay. Let's get into your classes this year. You've had last year you introduced UTV racing into the CSRA, and by all means, it looks like it was a huge success. No surprise, because all the other terrain vehicles over the years have come on like ATV racing, then quad racing, and now UTV racing looks like it's going to be the next one. So let's talk about the UTV races.
Yeah, so we created the UTV off-road program mainly for right now the manufacturers. There's not a lot of places to ride the sport type utility vehicles, and they're very expensive. It's huge in the U.S. obviously, but there wasn't much going on up here as far as racing. I don't think there was anything. So we thought we would introduce two classes for production: 1,000 cc class and also 1,000 turbo class. For racing in the snow. So we actually created a different track. They use parts of the SNOWCROSS track, but in general they ran around the perimeter of the SNOWCROSS track. And we take the snow level down to just a few inches, or even right down to dirt. They race on a variety of everything, like right down to the grass, a couple inches of snow. They're on ice. They're going through the whoop section of the SNOWCROSS track, which is really spectacular. They're flying, and the snow's flying, and they're nosing in, and it's crazy. But really fun to watch, and the guys in the UTVs absolutely loved it. So it was great. Last year we had Polaris and Yamaha stepped up to the plate. This year we have Polaris and Can-Am supporting the program again. So we're looking forward to getting going with those races. We just run two at a time, head to head, and then we just keep on doing eliminations until we get down to the top 2 or 3 guys. So that way, you're not having the guys jamming, 10, 15 machines into a corner and wrecking them. These things are really expensive. Some of the guys have 30, 40, 50, 60 grand invested in these UTVs. So we don't want them wrecked, so the guys do get aggressive, obviously, and there is a bit of bumping and grinding going on, but nothing crazy. And the fact that the racing surface is slippery with the snow and ice conditions, you don't have the hard impacts or the high speeds or the guys rolling over as easily on the slippery surfaces. They're just sliding around. They're trying to find traction. We don't allow them to use traction products. You can use your choice of tires, but that's it. So the guys it really comes down to rider and racer skill level and finding traction and good tires. And other than that, we kept the rules in place as far as the machines themselves go very simple, so that anybody who's got a late model 1,000 cc sport machine could come racing. And whether or not you've got 110 horsepower or 200 horsepower, the speeds of the machines really doesn't vary very much, because of the fact that the higher horsepower machines simply don't get traction any better than a 100 horsepower machine does in most cases. We keep the speeds at lots of corners, lots of terrain, so we don't let the speeds get very high. And it works out really well. We've got a lot of sponsors that jumped on board to support it. And we're really excited about growing that. We're also working with some of the motocross tracks now in Ontario to help them, or just not necessarily help them, but suggest that they use the same rules that we have, because it allows people to get involved easily without a big expense, without a lot of additional work to their machine. And then if the motocross tracks that want to start some UTV races use the same basic rules as us, now you've got a situation where a guy can justify buying a sport side by side, because they can compete with it all summer, spring, summer, and fall, and then in the wintertime they can roll into our program and run it in the wintertime. So it makes for a whole lot of fun for these guys. My original vision was, you've got these, a couple hundred teams that a couple hundred families racing at our events. You've got, mom and dad, dad wrenching for the kids. With the UTVs, the dads can actually race them, no problem. There's no problem with, a 50, 60, or 70-year-old guy running these machines, or a 20-year-old kid, or an 18-year-old kid. Anybody can drive them. And, the older guys with a bit more experience, maybe in a vehicle like that, can maybe outrace the younger guys. Or they might get a young girl like we had last year with Alexa Callan.
I was going to point that out. Yeah. You got a young lady win a couple events.
Well, she won both classes, even won the turbo class with a non-turbo machine, just because she was smooth and controlled. And she, Alexa's an excellent racer from, she's one of our champion women snowmobile racers. Now she's gotten into the side-by-side program with Kawasaki. She runs the Kawasaki machine, and she's an excellent little rider, and man, she's hard to beat, no doubt about it. So it was really cool. Last year, her dad, Gren, also was competing. And at one race, we had father and daughter both on the podium up in Lindsay. So that was really spectacular to watch, and also to see the whole family getting involved. My thoughts were that the dads could wrench for the kids on the sleds, and the kids could turn around and wrench for dad when he jumps on the UTV. Makes for a fun
that's a
weekend.
success when you get the family up there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That program is it went great right off the get go, and I expect it to be even better this year.
Yeah, perfect, awesome. And what kind of prizes do you offer for the UTV program? Any much of a
Well, last year we
did.
did a few events. We call them a Top Gun shootout. We did that with sleds versus snow bikes, and we also did it with the UTVs. With the guys, we just keep it going, two races at a time, and kept on eliminating them until we had a champion. And there's a $5,000 purse for all those winners. I think we had 3 of these events for the snow bike versus sleds, and we had 3 also for the UTVs that we paid $5,000 for the winners of each of those. So we paid $30,000. So it was great prize money for these guys. This year we're not doing that because we're not going to have the extra revenue to make that happen, unfortunately, with what's going on with no spectators, that type of thing. But we're still going to be doing the events, and we're working on some nice prizes for the guys for this year.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, great. Let's talk about the sleds now. What have you got for any new additions to the snowmobile racing this year? Classes? Any new classes? Rule changes? Anything like that?
No new classes. We've got our classes kind of sorted out real nice right now, starting with the kids, in the 120s as young as 4 years of age. So the 120 class is well established. We've got, all kinds of riders in the 120 class, maybe 60 kids or more. And then we go to the novice 200 class with the new Snow Scoot from Yamaha and the ZR 200 from Articat. Fabulous little machines for the kids of the next level to step onto. We keep all these classes stocked so that they're inexpensive, and the little 200s are quite fast as they are, so no need to be doing anything to them anyhow. But that's great racing for these kids to get them involved in the program, and then once they're involved in that, then they move on to the transition classes where they're using a 1-year-old full-on race sled that's been detuned and throttle blocked. That provided a great program. We created that program a few years back. Started with Mike Cloetti, and then we got all the manufacturers involved. Changed the rules a little bit at ISR so that these kids could run a full-blown limited build race sled, but it had to be a year old and had to be limited with by RPM and throttle blocks. And what that did is it allowed racers to be able to sell their 1-year-old race sleds to the kids for a cheap price, and the kids can use them for a few years and then turn around and sell them for the same money, basically. So economically, it was great for our pros to be able to get rid of their sleds, and then for the kids to be able to buy a good quality performance sled for not very much money. So that really helped out all of our pro and pro light classes, and also helped out all the kids classes because we had all kinds of sleds that these guys could use. So that was a real success, and those classes continue to grow. And then from there we go into the sport, trail sport, and pro light and pro classes. And those classes are all solid right now with CSRA. We've got some fabulous young riders right now. Like going into the season, we really do not know who's going to win, obviously, but there's so much talent out there right now with these young kids in our pro light and pro classes that the racing is going to be phenomenal. So I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to be taking the wins at every weekend, basically, at these races in those classes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, Ken. Something else that all the race organizations they really require, and it's a necessity to have good quality staff. Talk about your staff. A lot of them have been there since day one, also.
Yeah, absolutely, Gord. From my side, that's the most important part of our whole operation is our staff. You've been involved for a long time with us as well, but our staff is mainly a lot of family and friends that have been with us doing this for 25, almost 30 years now. So can't say enough about the staff that we've had over the years. It's the staff come and go because they basically have other jobs and other things that they do. But our staff has always been top notch. We've got, as far as I'm concerned, I've worked with all the other race circuits. We have, bar none, the best medical team working with us. which is so important to keep all of our staff and our racers safe. In addition to that, the key guys that help us run the events, the starting line, the tech, and the finish line with Johnny Adams and brother-in-law Mike on the starting line. We've got Phil looking after the gate and all these people that have been in with us over the years. But absolutely top-notch staff that we have. We don't really use very many volunteers with our staff because it's just hard to get volunteers that are willing to put in the hours that my staff puts in. When they start at 6 a.m, they're there until sometimes midnight, tearing down at the end on Sunday. And then during the races, you want to have those guys that are paying attention and can react quick with a yellow flag or not scared to jump on the course and help out if they need to help get a sled off, kid slips a sled over, whatever the case may be. And then the other staff know they can back that guy up if he has to do that, which keeps everybody safe. So our staff is top notch. I couldn't ask for better people.
One of the best announcers in the business too.
Best announcer with Dave Bell, and his wife works with us in the scoring systems with Lisa. And our tech staff is Bob Hogg. There's a guy with 50 years experience in snowmobile racing, top notch guy. Brock Norris, he's got tons of years of racing ovals with us, and he's been involved and still is with his kids. Helps us out in tech and on the starting line. Tremendous staff. I've got the best staff in the world, and I love them all, and really appreciate the hours and the time they put in. The racers go out there and they race. They're out there for 10-15 minutes back into the trailer where it's warm. These staff are out there from 6 a.m. They come in for a lunch break at 1 or 2 if we're lucky enough to have time to do that. And otherwise, they're outside there in the cold for an entire day. They don't get to go in and have a coffee break, with the exception, because I said maybe at lunch for 20 minutes. Usually, they don't even have time to eat. So for these guys to do that for us, and at the same time as they're doing that, enjoying it because they're passionate about the sport, I couldn't ask for anything better. So my staff's the best, no doubt.
Yeah, you got a nice first aid crew that travels to all the races too, which is almost like adopted by all the top race organizations. They all have a dedicated safety medical crew, and you also have one.
Yeah, Rob Kennedy and his crew are fabulous. And the nice thing about having the same medical crew everywhere you go, they travel with the circuit, is that they get to know the racers. They know what the racers are wearing. Some of the racers are wearing the tech vests. Well, they're all wearing tech vests, but some of them are also wearing neck braces, the different helmets, all this gear that keeps our racers safe. But if there is an incident, the medical crew has to know how to work around these devices, keep them safe, get the helmet off properly, blah blah blah. All that stuff. Really important. And when the racers get to know Rob the way they do, because he's been there for years, they have no problem going up to him and ask him a question if they're not feeling well or if something feels a little bit weird. And he's fabulous at diagnosing the situation and let them know what they should or shouldn't do. So important to have a world-class medical team as part of the CSRA program.
Yeah. Okay. So you're not going to have any spectators, but how about live streaming? Are you set up for live streaming this year that the people can, the aunts and uncles and fans can all watch the kids and families racing?
We've got a couple of things in the works right now for that we're working with. We've just signed on with Rev TV. So Rev TV is going to be on site doing all the national events. They're hoping to be able to broadcast live. However, that's a little bit more complicated, but they are trying to do that. So I can't give you a definite answer on what is going to happen with that yet, but they're working on it. And then for sure they're going to be shooting the events for follow up afterwards, so everybody will get to know what's going on with the race circuit. In addition, prior to the season starting, they're going to be broadcasting our shows that were broadcast on TSN for the last year or so. So that's going to start up very soon, just to give show all the highlights and the racing that went on last year, and I think even the year before that. So that's going to be great. So to get some more exposure for for our racers. And then we're going to ramp up our social media. Obviously, we haven't done a lot leading into the season because there's so many ongoing changes right now that we want to kind of get locked in and ready to go. We'll really start ramping stuff up over the next few weeks now. But we're going to do a lot more social media from the event sites and following the events to let everybody know what is going on with the racers who won what in all the classes. So that's going to be the best we can do to get the information out to everybody. And our racers are all young, obviously, so they're all very social media savvy. So they will do their own programming and getting information out of from the racers as well. So between the network of racers and crew members and Rev TV and our own social media, there's going to be a lot of outgoing messages and video clips and photos of what went on at the races for our fans. And we're really looking forward. Hopefully, by the end of the season, we can have fans again and hopefully wrap up the season, at Horseshoe Resort and invite all our wonderful fans in to watch the national finals. That'd be so good. So that's what we're hoping for.
Nice, perfect, great. Yeah, if you follow motocross, there was a lot of media. We're doing live Twitter updates and stuff like that, which worked really good. So there's definitely an ability for people to be informed at the races. If they're not present, they can just follow their Twitter feeds and stuff like that and see who's winning. It's basically live, almost live streaming on Twitter kind of thing too. So it works. So
right,
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
that's the best we can do this year. Everybody understands the restrictions that everybody's under this year. The fact that with our industry, the power sports industry and the recreation industry, like the RVs, the boats, bicycles, motocross bikes, dirt bikes, the dealers are all having record sales. Everybody wants to self-recreate right now and get out and enjoy the great outdoors here in Canada. So it's been great that our industry has had record sales. Because so many other businesses, as you know, are going the other direction where they're failing and they're losing businesses and stuff. So we are extremely lucky. We have to look at the bright side sometimes of when stuff like this is going on, and I always try to do that. I look at the positive side of whatever happens, and that is the positive side of our power sports right now. Is the fact that our dealers are all doing great. There's lots of new people on machines for the first time. So it's going to be great for the OFSC and the trail programs, selling more passes and getting people out and enjoying the sports for motorcycling and snowmobiling and UTVs, ATVs, all that stuff. So I'm excited for our industry in that sense, and we're looking forward to trying to accommodate as many of the guys that want to do the high performance stuff through our circuits in the wintertime, and then the motocross boys can take over for the summer months when I want to be out on my boat.
Yeah. So, something we didn't address earlier is a lot of the racers are going to notice Rockstar is not with you this year as your main sponsor. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. We've had Rockstar for 12 years. They were a fabulous sponsor. They really helped us out, bringing our events to some new sites and helped us out with some infrastructure products for our events. Brought in some big teams, with the OTSFF program a few years back, and they've supported a lot of our athletes with helmet programs over the years. They may still be doing that with a couple of them. But basically what has happened is Pepsi bought Rockstar off the previous owner of Rockstar. And for this year, they're pulling out of everything basically in Canada. I think that with the transition that's taking place from Rockstar Inc. to Pepsi, and also the situation that's going on right now with public health, they just felt that for this year they're going to kind of get out and keep an eye on things most likely, and kind of reboot for when they want to restart everything up under their program. Pepsi has all their own marketing stuff going on and sales guys as part of the big monster that Pepsi is. So, they basically just going to check everything out and possibly get back involved down the road a little bit. They'll see what works for them and what doesn't. But we appreciate what they did do for us over the 12 years that we're involved with CSRA. So for this year, they're moving on, same with the motocross program. I think that's done with Rockstar as well. So we just have to be, you just have to look for additional support from other sponsors, keep the door open, and make some adjustments. But certainly no hard feelings, and we'll be approaching them down the road to see if they want to re-engage. Maybe when things lighten up again, and we can have fans. They really like being on site and doing sampling programs with the fans and integrating, with the fans, so to speak. And they simply can't do that right now. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to be involved right now.
Yeah.
If they were, we still couldn't do half the promotions they want us to do, obviously, because we're not going to have the fans, and we don't want people grouping together in any way, shape, or form. So the sponsorship just didn't work for what's going on right now with the world and our circuit.
Yeah. Okay. So on that note, let's talk about what you got going on this year for racer prizes, and you've offered vehicles, trucks in the past many years. Let's talk about that program.
Yeah, I like to always try to have some kind of a major prize for our pro racers. And sometimes sponsors will come along and say, hey, I want to support the kids programming, or I want to support the pro light class, or I want to support the sport class. Usually sometimes sponsors are involved with a racer that's in that particular class. But I really focus on the pro class because that's where everybody's putting the big effort in for money and big teams and top riders. So we've been working, as you know, for many years with Grant Callan from True North Motorsports. And this year we're working with him again, and he's working with some new dealerships. He works with a number of dealerships, but the primary dealer that we're working with this year with him is Tom Smith Chevrolet dealer GMC out of Midland, Ontario. And they're going to provide us with a brand new 2021 Duramax diesel 4-door midnight special 2500 beautiful truck. So that's going to be the truck that's going to be awarded to our pro champion at the end of the season. And so that rider will get to have that vehicle for the duration of his championship for a 1-year period. Jake Weir's been champion of that. He's won 2 trucks now, 2 years back to back. So if he can do it again this year, he'll have a 3rd truck. So it's a great prize package for the guy that wins it, and for us, it makes a great promotion for the CSRA to be able to announce a prize like that. And then for the dealerships that are involved supporting it, they benefit from, they also offer all of our dealers. So like Tom Smith will provide a discounted rate more so than what other GM dealers are going to do for any power sports racer that's a member of CSRA, a member of the Triple Crown Series, or a member of the OFSC trail system. If you're a snowmobiler or a power sports person, you can chat with Grant Callan at Tom Smith. They'll give you a special deal on a truck if you want a hauler for your race equipment. And he's got a cool program where he can flip them out every 6 months, and then the trucks can move down and sold in Michigan or into the U.S. And a lot of our racers are on that program right now, where they can get into a new vehicle every 6 months. So it's a really cool program. You've got a brand new high-end truck that is super reliable. It's got new tires, new brakes, new everything under warranty. Doesn't get any better than that. So we've been doing this for a number of years with Grant. He's a fabulous guy. He's got two kids racing. He's got a solid race team going on with Articat and Kawasaki UTVs with Alexa. So they're at all the events. Easy to get introduced to these guys, and if you're interested in a new truck, they can certainly look after you. And then by doing that, you're also supporting the sponsors that support our circuit, which we encourage our racers to do all the time.
So it's not just for the racers. OFSC members can get involved in that, and
they will look after anybody in power sports. That's what they specialize in. They specialize in providing trucks to the power sports industry, the people that are involved. So if you're a member of an organized power sports circuit, or the OFSC, or the Triple Crown Series, motocross, or the SNOWCROSS Series, they will help you out. They're awesome. So and it's great for GM trucks. You and I both worked for General Motors for many years, so we love the company. They've been great to us. I like to support the product. They've got the best trucks, hands down, right now on the market. So we love, once you get people into those trucks, they're very interested in buying one or leasing one, or whatever they want to do. And right now with this program, it makes it real easy, and financially, it's you can't beat it. So it's a great program. It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, perfect, awesome. So people can they can look up that dealership and talk to Gren.
To Tom Smith Chevrolet or True North Motorsports. Just go to the websites and you can get connected.
And they're also on social media too.
Yep.
So, okay, sure. Let's talk about your other sponsors that have been longtime supporters of the CSRA. Some of them you've had since day one, like Daco. Let's talk about all your other sponsors.
Yeah, so we've got some fabulous sponsors. It's hard to name them all, but we've got some key sponsors that have been with us from pretty much day one. Like Stud Boy Traction Products and Woody's Traction Products and all these aftermarket, sponsors that have been helping us out, making the circuit happen. So we really appreciate everything these guys do for us. As far as major sponsors for the circuit that actually let us let the circuit happen, put the larger dollars in and support. We've got Daco's been there from day one with us. Daco dry belts. They've got the dust belt on the product on the market right now. All the racers love using their products. So Daco for sure is top notch with our circuit. We also have FXR race division, FXR apparel. FXR is, as you know, everywhere you look right now, FXR is there, whether it's motocross, whether it's snowboarding, snowmobiling, everything is FXR. They are the brand right now as far as cool apparel goes. They help us out. They make all our stuff look great. The products that they provide us with are warm, and they've got basically everything you could ever possibly want, with amazing looking apparel and helmets and boots and everything else. So we love our FXR stuff. Our guys are so excited to get their new stuff every year. And we really appreciate everything FXR does for us as well. Then we've got Sunoco Race Fuels. Sunoco is a fabulous sponsor out of the U.S. But all our guys, the pros, all the manufacturers that are creating the limited build race sleds, designed the sled to run on Sunoco Surge race fuel. It's a non-ethanol fuel, so it's it doesn't hurt anything in the sleds, where like a regular pump gas does with ethanol in it, where it screws up your seals and it just gas deteriorates. With the Sunoco race fuel being a pure non-ethanol fuel, it doesn't go bad. It can be in your machine for a year or two, as long as it's not getting sunlight on it. The fuel itself, and it'll last forever. It stays good. And the benefits of the high performance fuel and high compression engines is phenomenal. So absolutely great sponsor for us. They are the official race fuel of CSRA and ISOC. So all of the top snowmobile racers, whether you're a hill climber or snowcross, oval guys, most of them are using Sunoco Surge race fuel. And here in Canada, it's available at a few dealers. It is also available at Royal Distributing for anybody that wants it. A lot of the top trail riders will even run it. Quite expensive for trail riding, but some of the guys, they want that top-notch fuel, and that's what they'll use. Then we got MBRP. We've been involved with MBRP for quite a while as well. They designed some really cool aftermarket silencers and exhaust systems for the trucks, and also the aftermarket silencers for the Pro and Pro Light race sleds. So they're a lot lighter, 10 to 15 pounds lighter than a stock system, and usually a couple horsepower more, 2 or 3 horsepower more than the stock system. So lots of benefit there for our racers, going to a lighter pipe, a lighter silencer with a bit more horsepower. And they've been a great sponsor for us as well with our UTV program, as well as providing our systems for our trucks. So thanks so much to MBRP. On Snow Magazine, Richard Kehoe and his group, they've had a tough year this year with the snowmobile shows going, not being allowed to happen, but they've still got a great setup of magazines and TV shows going on. and they've been supporting us. They do our race program every year for our annual CSRA yearbook. So we appreciate everything that On Snow magazine does for us, and Richard Kehoe and his group. Got to mention Royal Distributing, John and his family at the Royal Distributing. These guys have been supporting our Snowcross, all our junior riders. They give out, tens of thousands of dollars of gift cards to all our racers over the years. I can't say enough about this sponsor either, Gord. They're fabulous. They've been sponsoring me from when I used to compete myself. So they've been involved with us for since day one.
Yeah.
So we're always distributing number one. They're one of those sponsors that actually put a lot back into the motorsports. Trail riding, the OFSC, the CSRA. They actually support the sports that the customers are buying their products from. So we really encourage our fans and our racers to support the sponsors that support your sport. So we've got some great dealers that are involved, Royal Distributing, and all these companies that I'm mentioning are fabulous supporters of power sports. So we need to support them back. Also new this year, we have Motul oil and lubricants. So Motul is a top-notch lubricant that quite a few of our racers have been using for years. And this year they jumped on board with CSRA to be our official lubricant sponsor. So we're really excited about hooking up with Motul for our race circuit. They've got some great people working there. The product is fabulous, and looking forward to working with Motul this year. So it's going to be exciting for us. And then as far as one additional major sponsor, I would like to just mention once again True North Motorsports and Tom Smith Chevrolet GMC, just because of the value of the that grand prize they give us every year. This has been going on for years now. Is extensive, and we really appreciate that cool prize that they give us to look after our pro athletes.
Yep.
So
you got all the OEMs on there too.
All of the OEMs, absolutely. Polaris, Yamaha, Arctic and Skidoo are all huge in supporting our circuit. They've been doing it forever. We have Timber Sled also supporting the snow bike part of it, and then with the UTV side, we have the RZR program with off-road program with Polaris, and the Can-Am program with BRP. So we thank both those guys for helping us out to get this UTV program up and running. And I'm blessed to have all these sponsors helping me make these events happen, because you've been involved long enough that the cost to do this. Absolutely impossible to do it without the support. So as long as these guys are backing us, we can keep things going.
Yeah. Do you want to back up? Do you want to back up a little bit and talk about the snow bikes? We left that out, and that's another, like the UTVs. That's another growing discipline on the race circuit, and there's some very popular drivers. One of them is Canadian, or a number of them are Canadian.
Yeah, we've got some great snow bike racers. Like snow bikes have evolved out of mountain riding. So we've got some great riders like Brock Hoyer, Cody Matichuk. The top racers in the world, snow bike racers, the majority of them are Canadians, with the exception of Jesse Kirchmeier out in New York. He's been up here running snow bikes against our guys up here, and he's a fabulous rider as well. So I wanted to make sure we mentioned him riding his KTMs. But Yannick Boucher and Brock Hoyer and Cody Matichuk, all medalists, X Games medalists. These guys are so fast. And so we started we kind of introduced the snow bikes to SNOWCROSS a few years back. It's never going to be a huge numbers of racers of them, because the cost of by the time you buy the bike and the kit is fairly expensive. But there is a market for it, and we like to have them at our events because they are very, very fast. The manufacturers are building the kits now more for snowcross and terrain racing, where before, when we first started, they were basically kits that were used in mountain riding. the deep snow. So now that with Timber Sled building the 120R kit and the SX 120 kit, and Yeti's got some great kits. All the manufacturers of snow bike kits are making their packages for snowcross racing now, as well as obviously the mountain market. But so now these guys are getting really fast on these machines, and they're on many tracks, the snow bikes are putting in a faster lap time than the pro sleds will. They're only half the horsepower, but they're also half the weight, and their cornering speed is huge compared to the sleds, providing the track is built properly. They need a bit of a berm, and they need more of a bit of a smoother rolling type terrain. And if the track, is like that in certain areas, they will go faster than the sleds, especially in the corners. Sometimes they'll come out of a corner 20, 30 foot ahead of a sled when we run them side by side. So, but that is the top riders. There's a few guys that can ride them like that. That your top-notch motocross riders can ride them hard and do that once they get used to the kits. The kits are a bit awkward at first. When you first hop on them, you go, "Wow, this is weird." But once the guys start getting used to them, they just get faster and faster and faster every time you're on the bike. So it's pretty cool to watch those guys go. Basically, for us, it's very similar to what the UTV program is. We want to have a bit of variety of activity for our fans. The snow bikes are really cool to watch. The UTVs is really cool to watch. But of course, primarily, we're there for snowmobile racing. But we'll definitely continue with those other power sports products at our events because we love them.
Perfect. Okay. Did you get all your sponsors in there? I cut you off there with the snow bikes. Did you get them all in?
Yeah. Well, I didn't get them all in. We've got so many aftermarket sponsors, and I'll just rattle through them really quick. So we've got like Stud Bikes for Action. We've got Action Trailers, that helps us out with our trailers. We've got CNA Pro Skis. We've got TechVest. TechVest is providing the best safety gear you can get for trail riding or for racing with their famous TechVest and the other products that they produce. So and then all these dealers. Every market we go to, we have all the dealers helping us out. All the dealers up in Timmins and Barrie and all these guys. All these smaller sponsors help us to make things happen in their areas. So it's really important that they be involved with us, and they all seem to support some of the racers. So between our primary exclusive sponsors and our aftermarket groups and the OEM manufacturers, it allows us to keep this show rocking. So thank them all for their continued support.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds great. Your social media. Where can people? What platforms are you on social media so people can kind of follow the CSRA?
Well, primarily we have our website. SNOWCROSS.com. It's SNOW cross.com. The U.S. circuit with ISOC is SNO to SNOWCROSS, so we're very similar to the W in there. They're here in Canada. In addition to our website, we have Instagram that we like to promote our products on and our events, as well as Facebook. Those are the ones we're primarily on from the CSRA side. Those are the ones we kind of focus on. But anybody that wants to get involved in racing simply needs to go to our website, download the information for snowbike racing or UTV racing or newsletter number 1 for the sleds, and all the basic information that will allow you to get started is there. This year, because of the restrictions that we have, unfortunately, we can't have our fans. We love our fans. We simply cannot have them this year. The community don't let us. If things change by the end of the season, like I said earlier, we'd love to have the fans show up, and if that does change, we'll be the first ones to let everybody know that come and check the event site. For right now, we have to keep everybody safe, distance, can't have fans. So what we're doing this year is all of our crew members and all of our racers, they have to be CSRA members this year. So at our gates, we're only allowing members into the events. So the gates will be very secure. People are going to have their ID, hard card, and a lanyard showing that they're a CSRA current 221 CSRA member. They're either going to be a racer or a crew member, and then they can come on into the site. And if they don't have that, we can't let them in. Yeah, that's just part of the protocol that we have with these health units in each market that we go to.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So,
That's
that basically wraps it up from my side, Gord. I think thanks very much for having us on, and we look forward to seeing everybody soon and getting things going here.
Yep. Okay. Thanks a lot to Ken Avann for the from the CSRA. And yes, we are brothers, so I'll point that out. Yeah, thanks a lot to Ken and CSRA for all the information, and hopefully that really helps people understand what is going on this year, because it's going to be a different year. And we weren't able to get in touch with the ISOC circuit. But it's going to be similar to the oval and cross country circuits, and we certainly hope everybody has a great season. And please support the sponsors that support these organizations, because they're going to need it this year. So,
right
okay,
on,
Ken,
thank you
very much.
Take care. Bye.
Yep. Okay. Welcome back to the Snowmobiling Podcast. This is your host, Gord Avann, and we are talking to Todd Myers, the president of CORR Motorsports. And they are the XC, the cross-country racing organization. So, Todd, how you doing?
Not bad. Surviving.
Yeah. It's tough times these days, isn't it? With being a race promoter.
Yep. It's right now. Everything is kind of pretty fluid, and it's pretty much with the new restrictions come up from Minnesota week and a half ago or whatever. It's a week by week kind of thing.
Yeah. How's your schedule looking so far? You had to cancel, or did you cancel or postpone the Pine Lake race?
We ended up having to work with the promoter, and the decision was to cancel Pine Lake because the next alternate date would be January 9th, 10th, and we don't know what the governor restrictions are going to be for that time. So,
right, yeah. So, okay. So, what have you got? First off, let's go through the history of CORR Motorsports. Tell us about CORR Motorsports. How many years you've been running, and kind of the history of your organization.
Yep. So it's actually CORR Power Sports. I basically have been around racing since 2000. I think was my first year racing, and then we ran under Myers Racing for years. Had pro snowcross team, dealt with many different things. After I retired from racing at that time, I worked for a local snowcross circuit. Basically did help with marketing and website, and kind of a jack of all trades, do whatever needed to be done kind of thing. And got involved with cross country by being a sponsor with Pat Mock and USCC.
Oh yeah.
And then 2000, I don't even remember. I think it was 2010 or 11. The snowcross circuit I raced for, I kind of put the bug in the ear of we needed to get into cross country. Did a trial event with that series, and being a snowcross promoter, he was not a big fan of trying to manage a 15 to 20 mile course. And so it's the following year, my wife and I sat down, tried to process through a few things. My kids want to get back into racing, but we wanted to kind of have a different attitude and viewpoint towards our racing. So we started CORR Power Sports. I think that was 2011. And it's actually, no, it would have been 2009 is when we had the idea for it. Basically it was a ministry outreach through our church. So we did a little racing, worked with a promoter, did morning prayer at the races. And then when after that snowcross series, didn't want to do cross country anymore, we decided to switch from being our own race team to putting on races.
Right.
And our first event was January 2011 at Mercer Flowage in Mercer, Wisconsin. So, and it's just slowly developed from there to where it is now. So,
yeah.
It's looking back, it's kind of surprising.
Yeah. Tell us about how you go about preparing for a cross country race. I mean, I'm in Canada, and we haven't got any cross country races up here really to speak. What are the procedures for like scouting out a cross country race? How do you who do you talk to throughout the different regions, because you're covering quite a distance? And do you use like snowmobile trails that you borrow for the day, or how do you go about it?
Depends. Certain states have certain regulations. So, Wisconsin, we can't shut down snowmobile trails to race on public snowmobile trails, but Minnesota, we can pull permits to do it. Michigan, we can't do closed trails either there, but Michigan state land is actually public land, so you can race on public land. So it's each state is completely different, and it's a lot of knowing what you can do, where you can do it. Typically, we have a local person that will contact us, or we reach out to a chamber in a certain place, discuss if they're interested with it, and then I'll go have a meeting with them, and we start working on first the logistics if they think they can pull it off. And I usually either, if it's a woods race, I spend a lot of time on a four-wheeler or whatever, scouting things out, and lake races are pretty easy to figure out when we need to do those, because you can just Google map it and figure out how you want to lay out a course. And it's just, pretty much all of our places, we have to have someone that's local just for the knowledge of the area. Quite a few in Minnesota, we work with snowmobile clubs, and they are a huge part of what we're able to do. Nadawash helps a ton with their event. Goodrich, Rigala clubs come together for the 500, and they basically kind of come up with the whole course of the I-500, which is huge because that's a lot of mileage and working on things there. So snowmobile clubs are a huge part of what we do. So, yeah. And then, it's I've told people, if you could see behind the curtain of Oz, you'd be kind of shocked. So.
Yeah. So, okay, perfect. So let's discuss where are you going this year with your venues, and kind of the expectations that you got for this coming season.
Yep. Our plan was, until 2 weeks ago, to run a very similar schedule to what USXC did in the past and USCC did as well, to kind of keep the heritage of those events. And then with CORR, we started the Midwest Extreme Snowmobile Challenge Series 5 years ago that runs on ski hills. And those are actually over 2 days. We run cross-country, hill climb, and a hill cross. So we're going to have the traditional cross-country that's been run for many years. And then we end the spring with the ski hills being part of that circuit. So they would be part of our point series for the cross-country, and then we would do hill climb and hill cross as well. And our hill climb is actually the premier qualifying series for the Jackson Hole World Championship hill climb. So it's we do a lot with that. But Pine Lake was supposed to be our opener. It's been an opener for years. We brought Detroit Lakes back this year. Right now it's the weekend after New Year's, so we're kind of waiting to see what the next step is by the Minnesota governor for restrictions and how it will affect that date. Then the Heartland 200 and Park Rapids, that one we moved a week back this year to keep the DNR happy, because we use a lot of the Paul Bunyan State Forest for the trails. So we moved it off a holiday weekend. Head to Manville, North Dakota, which Snowmobile Club does a lot there. And then the I-500, our plan is to go to ERX in Elk River, Minnesota for kind of a hybrid event there. Again, that one is another one that's a big concern right now just because of the Minnesota governor. Nadawash, take a few weeks off, and then we go to Big Powderhorn Ski Resort in Bessemer, Michigan, and Giants Ridge Ski Resort the weekend after Easter, and that's where we'll finish our season out. So,
wow, you got a good series. You got a good lot of races.
Yep, I haven't worked out to where it's a couple plowed lake races, couple terrain races, couple long distance terrain races, and then ski hill. So it's many different types of snowmobile racing. So it's not one racer who's good at ice racing or anything else. Somebody has to be good at all different types. So it'll be good as long as the state will let us get back racing.
Yeah, well, I've seen some of your racers, and they are good at a lot of different disciplines. You got some good racers on your circuit there. So, the I-500, where are you starting from, and where are you finishing? What are the main towns that you're going to be going through with the I-500?
The I-500 is going to be run like it was last year. It's basically the Goodrich Gorilla Snowmobile Club helps coordinate it. It starts right there in Goodrich, where our base will be out of. It's 2 60-some-mile loops, so we'll race 125 miles, and they'll do 2 laps on it. So it'll be 250 miles. And then they'll have another course set up for the second day. So it'll be the same thing, 2 laps on a 125-mile course for the second day. So it'll be 500 miles total. So, and that's all in the Goodrich, Gorilla, Thief River Falls, that whole area, as where the I-500 has been run for many, many years. It's just logistics and everything else that works out a lot easier to have it based out of one place than try to go point to point.
Right.
There's, especially with COVID, there's a lot of issues that would happen with trying to do a point to point. So we're trying to keep it simple the first year.
Yeah, keep it simple this year because it's not going to be easy. So tell us about the classes you got racing at your races. What displacements you got? What abilities have you got?
We have as low as the junior 1013 class. They run restricted sleds for speed. We have a really good base for that. And then it runs all the way up to the Pro Open tricked mod sleds that guys like Herfindahl, Tate, Reverings, these guys take these crazy, insane horsepower sleds and make life like really simple. It's I watch Zach Herfindahl ride and Charlie and Dan Revering, and it's like they don't even look like they're trying. And you go out to ride the same course, and it's like these guys, it's almost inhuman what they can do. So, pretty much 90% of our classes are 600cc requirements. We do have a couple specialty classes that we allow a bigger one just because we're trying to open it up to people that are fans of racing that want to try it to see if it's something they want to do without having to go purchase a 600. So that is open up to the 850 cc's. And it, like I said, that is just, it's a non-racer kind of come out, try it, see what you think. We're pretty protective on how we let them run and stuff like that. It's a really unsafe environment for them. And 9 times out of 10, the guy comes off the course and he quickly realizes he's not as fast as he thought he was. So that's one thing. Bench racing, it's being on the side looking at it, you think that you can go do it. And as soon as you get in that scenario, it's like, wow, it's so much different. And then one thing that we changed for this year is with CORR, we've always had what we called Vintage 2. It's 2004 and older sleds. It's kind of more of a not quite full vintage. We call it classic now with the new circuit. It's 2004 and older up to 800cc. So it's basically allows like the old RXLs, and these guys go up and buy sleds for $750 off Craigslist, put a couple $100 into them, they go out and race them. And if something happens and it breaks, they don't really feel so bad as trashing a $14,000 sled. So it's, that one's pretty popular, and it's we keep the entry fee pretty as low as we can on that one to keep it basically a really fun class.
Yeah. Do you allow the X race sleds, the limited sleds, because the racers like to get rid of their old revs and stuff like that, and it's kind of that time frame. Do you allow the X race sleds? Oh, you do. Okay, that's good then. That's a good deal for your regular racer then to buy one of those. In certain classes, the SNOWCROSS sleds are allowed. We have the factory class, which is basically your XCRs, your ZRs, and it's the XRS from Skidoo, the fuel-injected 600s, production built. Right now, with all the SNOWCROSS sleds being fuel-injected as well, people are wondering if they can run those, and unfortunately, they don't make enough of those units to qualify for a factory build because it's not available to the general public. Right. So, but we have a class in sport and semi-pro and pro where they can race those. So we do have an option for them. Yeah, yeah, perfect. So, your main venue this year. Which event is really the premier event of your season?
The 500. 500 is always the one. It's the biggest race we do. It's been around for, I believe it's since early 60s. So we're closing in on almost 60 years of it. So it's a lot of history with it. A lot of people, that's the one they want to shoot for. Park Rapids is a close one behind that because it's that one as well. It's been around for a lot of years and there's a lot of excitement about it. So, but yeah, the 500 is kind of where everybody wants to hang their hat on that one.
Yeah, for sure. That's the one everybody wants to brag about, winning or even finishing. To that point.
Yeah, it's I've raced it a couple times and had fun doing it and went into it knowing I was going to have knee surgery. And about a week after I had the event, I had my knee surgery and I haven't raced it since. So
yeah, I do remember you too, Todd. You raced the Polaris. The old XCRs. I'm pretty sure I remember you racing Snowcross.
Snowcross. Yep. I was Polaris 2001 through 2005. My race team ran Arctic Cat support in 2006. And then when I got back in the race, when my kids wanted to race in 2009, I raced for Skidoo.
Yeah.
And then I was in 2012, I was running the circuit. I'm like, well, this is what I've always wanted. So I worked out a support deal with Yamaha, and I raced for Yamaha for the 2012-13 season. And then I found out I had a dislocated vertebrae, so it wasn't the best idea to still be racing. So
yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty brain impartial. I like everybody.
Yeah. That's good. Okay. On that note, then let's talk about your sponsors. Who have you got sponsoring your events this year, and give them some love.
Oh, that's a pretty big list.
Yeah.
So it's even with the pandemic, we still have a great group of people that are supporting us and helping us keep this thing going. On Snow Magazine is still a big supporter of us. They help us out with our annual yearbook and getting exposure for the circuit in their publication. Fox Shocks is still going to be our kind of premier shock sponsor. On Snow Magazine is our big media partner. They do our annual yearbook and help with a lot of the promotional through publication in their magazine and on our website. Fox Shocks is going to be our official shock sponsor. They're going to be a big part of our events. I think they're going to come try to do some trackside support. And then Carver Performance has been a sponsor of the circuit with CORR even for quite a few years. Mike, the owner there, comes out with his trailer and tries to help out a lot of racers. Studboy Traction's been a sponsor of CORR, and even before that, I've worked with Studboy for probably close to 20 years. So it's a very long-term relationship with Studboy, and we're very grateful for them to continue their support. Fly Racing is on board, Bikeman Performance, Woody's, CNA Pro is on board. I used to be the race director at CNA, so we have a good relationship with that company. Skidoo will be on board again this year. Polaris is going to be one of our primary sponsors. FXR is our official clothing sponsor of the circuit, and they have a really good contingency program for the racers. Nelson International Truck Leasing is continued as a sponsor. We got Caliber Products. They provide the ski guides and stuff like that to protect our trailers and make sure that our equipment stays really nice. Arctic Cat has signed on for another year of support. We're very grateful for their support, and they support a lot of the racers. Yamaha Generators has stepped up to make sure that all of our trailers have nice, clean energy out of their Yamaha EF6300 inverters. Fowler Parts and Service is a new one for this year. They're kind of a smaller parts distributor. It's a friend of mine has recently purchased that, and he has come on board to support the circuit. He helps a lot with our promotional ad fins and doing a new finish line arch for us this year and that, so we can have a lot more professional looking appearance at the events. Northern Show Water is a supporter. Rock Speed Effects. Rocks has been part of my program for over 20 years. Knew the old owner, Rocky, really well. So it's one of those things that we definitely always try to keep them involved. Power Mad Racing is a sponsor this year. Bite Harder. I'm sure you're familiar with them.
Oh, yeah.
It's
the sharpener. Yeah, the sharpener, cardboard sharpener. Yeah.
Yeah, so we do a lot of that. Their product is super simple for our racers, for lake races with that, to be able to keep their products nice and sharp. So we usually have a handful of things that we can provide to the racers and stuff like that. Those guys are a great group up there. 139 Designs does our graphics for our snowmobiles. He's working on our stuff right now, so all the course marshal sleds will look really well and represent our sponsors. And then, we have a couple more that we're working on still that 1 o'clock in the morning last night, I was emailing them back and forth. So there's a lot of interest right now in cross-country racing because our numbers are up this year. There's a lot of people interested in it. We have more members than we did than USSA had last year, and more members than what CORR had. And so there's with COVID and everything that's going on, a lot of people just want to get back out racing and having fun. And we just need to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody just wants to, get their minds out of this pandemic and get out and have some fun and races and some nice, safe races and enjoy ourselves.
Yeah. So it's not much else to do right now. So we always want to go play. Yeah.
Okay, Todd. Really appreciate you talking with us and giving us an update on what CORR has got coming up this year. And I wish you luck and have a great safe season. And try not to get too upset if things go sideways this year, because it's definitely going to be a tough one with the pandemic and the restrictions and stuff like that. But keep trying, because we really need the promoters to hang in there, because it's going to be tough, and we want the racers to all support you guys.
Yep, it's been pretty positive. It's especially with the announcement that went out today. A lot of messages from racers, texts, Facebook messages, just being supportive. I personally called all 3 race directors that support riders on our circuit yesterday and let them know personally. And the feedback I got from them is all the manufacturers are definitely behind us, wanting to make sure that we keep a positive attitude. And they're telling their racers to be supportive. They know things are going to be pretty fluid and change. And it's one of the things we all have to roll with it. I know the one big thing that's on our mind is our Canadian racers. We got a handful of guys up there. I mean, one of our top pros here in Richardson lives in Canada, and we're trying to work with them to figure out how can he even get down here for our races this year. So it's there's a lot of things that are still out of all of our control, and we're just trying to work with what we can control. It can't really stress the things that we can't control, and that basically all of us need to lean on each other.
Yep, for sure. Absolutely. So, all right, Todd Myers, president of CORR. Wish you luck this year and have a great, safe season, and enjoy yourself. So